Lily, Valeen, you're back. I'm so excited and I'm seeing you. I had no idea your hair was so cool. It's got sort of like I've decided that the 80s were a special time, but maybe before your time. Are you
I
an
was
80s girl?
just just at the very end of the 80s. I was born in what, 89, year
Oh,
the games
wow.
one. Yeah,
That's
so
so cool. So it was always retro for you, 80s.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's
My,
got a little bit of an 80s texture to it, but with like a modern independence, which I think is something I would have if I had hair. It would be a little like yours, I think,
that's
if I
pretty
could pull it
sweet.
off.
Thank you.
No problem. So for people who don't know, your biggest game, I think, is Boss Game. What happened with your games? Last time we talked, you were working on a game called Boss Game about women in love and battles and bosses, and it was so cool. And now it's out and about, and you've become a cult hit superstar. Is that what
That's,
happened?
that's true. I actually have a cult, and it's really, I wasn't ready to be in charge of that many people, but we're doing whatever. But no, yeah. So I made last time we talked, I think it was just before I had put out Boss Game, and since then I have put out Boss Game. It's certainly the game I spent the most time on, and it's like pretty hefty in terms of a game compared to like I've made several dozen 20-minute games or like hour-long games. So Boss Game's like a full flesh kind of like, it's not like a super long game or anything, but yeah, it's
Well,
about,
it's more than an hour. It takes a little
yeah, for
bit, at
sure.
least for me. Yeah. And it's got the right kind of challenge where you aren't being told, like, this is hard. You should feel bad all the time. But it's got enough tension to it that you always feel like what you're doing is important. So you found a great spot there. Was it ever too easy or too hard and you had to, like, turn the dial to hard or easy?
It was probably a little too hard, mostly because, so what I found is I like making games that I like to play, which is probably not a super surprising thing, but because I'm making it, I'm very good at it. So I make it
Mm.
harder and harder so I can keep having a good time. And then I hand it to someone else and I'm like, right, they have not played this for 100 hours. So maybe I should tone it down a little bit. But
And how do you make it easier? Do you just change like hit point values and stuff like that, or did you have to?
a lot of it, well, with boss game, there's a lot of action stuff. So it's a lot of increasing, like changing reaction times to things. So with boss game, I
Oh,
had like a lot of very much like me going like, this should be 1/10 of a second slower, just so they can see it coming a little bit faster. Like a lot of like, I get very finicky about stuff like that. So this needs to feel just right, sort of stuff. So
that is so great. And feel, I think I almost said feel, feel, I think is so important to your success as a fan who's watched it happen because you have an eye for exactly how much or how little detail, how much polish or how like authentic and unmasked by the polish that could make something feel a little less personal. You have really have an instinct for that, and it gets you as a player into the flow state faster than like if everything was super detailed and shiny everywhere. I'd be like, I'm thinking, what does this woman who made this game care about? Does she care about like shiny skin so much? Like, should I just be looking at all the gradations of texture on the skin, or does she care about just like getting me there and feeling what she's feeling as fast as possible? So sometimes it's that, and then sometimes it's like, wow, she really polished the heck out of this, and it's more my feeling about the polish is it's often in like the design piece and less in the visuals. The visuals are very like I like to make art, but I'm not trying to like wow you. I just want you to be with me feeling, which is really direct and it works really well. So is all of this, do you agree with any of that? And also, if so, do you consciously try to make things that way, or are you just doing what comes naturally?
I think it's funny because I've had this discussion with people before, and I think what comes up a lot is basically that like if you're working on like a small scale, if you're making your own game, I make most of my games. Boss game, I had a lot of help with from other people here and there, um, but I made a lot of the game myself, and so it really comes down to picking and choosing your battles in terms of like where you want to put your time and stuff. At the time, my pixel art was like fine. It certainly communicates what it needs to do. but my main focus was like I love making cool boss battles and I love telling the story that I want to tell. And so I spent obviously spent a ton of time like focusing really on the feeling of every moment of the boss battle. And I think what it comes down to is like, well, if you can only pick a couple things to be good at, like you should focus on the ones that you're really personally in love with,
Mm.
because that's, people who are playing it who hopefully are also personally in love with that thing, people who want big, cool boss battles or uh, dramatic lesbian relationships are coming there for that. And like the pixel art's good. And if it was better, maybe it'd be a little nicer or whatever. But like, hopefully people know what I'm about, you
Oh,
know?
geez. Yeah, no, I wouldn't change a thing. It's
Yeah.
your pixel art, it has more of a Charles Schultz, like classic Charles Schultz vibe, where
Sure.
it's like I know who these characters are at a glance. I don't get caught up in like
Yeah.
even amazing character designers. Like speaking of lesbians in love, I've been watching a little bit of the Ghost in the Shell anime, the new one. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I'm
yeah.
so glad they're finally not being shy about the fact that she just has two girlfriends like all the time.
I don't think I've seen anything less shy about it than the way that I
Yeah,
won't
the
speak
way
more
things
on air.
are now.
Michelle.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I said I won't speak about it on air, but if you're watching this, you should watch Ghost in the Shell. The new
Yes, like don't watch it if you don't want to see those lesbians loving this. It's a
one.
very I feel like we've gotten to a point now where like I saw a penis on TV. I was watching Nirvana, the band, the show,
Oh,
and
oh
it
my
was a limp penis, but it was just a penis. And I'm like, is this TV? Is this porn? Like, what am I like? Everything's just melded together. And
God.
I'm watching Ghost in the Shell with my 10-year-old who is like uncomfortable. He's probably starting to have sexual ideas, but doesn't want to talk to his dad about it. Certainly not. And I'm
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to stop this because he might get too into it and not know what to do with it himself. So you might get too into it if you watch this show. It suddenly feels like, oh, this is just going to be pornography, but it never, I don't think there's a nipple. Did you
It's
spot one?
I don't remember if there's a nipple. I certainly it if the scene had gone on for another 3 seconds, it might have become pornography. But who's to say?
I think in the original comic book, he just drew it all because he's actually a porn drawing man. He loves
Oh,
it.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it's fun.
fun.
He's unhinged, and that's a nice thing. As much as you love love and closeness, you will just draw two women cuddling, and everyone will just like melt. And I see your follower count go up. You'll like post like these two girls are cuddling, and then suddenly you get like five more followers, as you should.
Yeah.
So, but making the leap into actual uh depicting sex acts, I feel like that's pretty tricky. Have you ever considered it being like, I'll go all in?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. As I've gotten better and better at art, there's definitely a part of me, and I'm sure it'll happen sooner or later, where I was like, and I don't know where I'll put it. I don't know if I'll put it on a main account or some side account or something. I don't know if I'll make a game about it, but I certainly
Mm.
at some point I will just be like, this I want to draw right now. I
Oh,
want to draw,
fun.
some well, yeah, I mean, you know, I very much appreciate like the tender sweetness of trying to girls code. I would say Boss Game definitely leans closer to mostly a pretty tender game as
Mm.
opposed to a slightly uh I guess a more erotic type experience. But um, I think both are important. So and it's
Yeah, I mean,
both are also very fun in their own ways too. So you gotta yeah.
absolutely fun is good, and you don't want to stay away from fun, any kind of fun. And also the way you do it, I feel is so like a direct expression of love for the people you love. Like when I play your games, I'm like, oh, she loves her girlfriend. And you're not married now, are you?
We are married now, actually.
Oh, I'm
That's the
sorry.
one major development. No, you're gonna be apologizing.
I thought you got married. So like your games could just be called I Love My Wife Part 2. Like they very feel that way.
Thing is, I really do love my wife a whole lot. And so there's a big inspiration of I love my wife in these games. Now, if I make some other sort of game that's about women, that's maybe less nice and cuddly, maybe that
Mm.
won't be about loving my wife. Maybe it'll still be about loving my wife, but also like the toxic part won't be. So
Yeah, that's right.
yeah,
It's all part of the experience that I feel like it's always been my sense that one of your strongest feelings is like you love getting in the flow state and making games, and you love getting in the flow state and just like hanging out with your wife. Like and you've somehow got into those two flow states at the same time with your games. I also heard you on Blue Sky saying that you like listening to punk rock music when you develop games.
oh yeah. Well, so it's interesting because I come and go from punk music a lot. I cannot listen to um music with lyrics while I'm
Hmm.
working because I will start drumming on my desk and yelling the lyrics out and I won't get any work done. I swear to I can't stop myself from doing it. So if I listen to like some really good punk song that I'm really into, I will stop working to like, I'll be drumming on my desk for a while, I'll be jamming out, and then I'll be like, oh, right, I have to focus. But when I'm driving around, a lot of the times I listen to a lot of like punk from the 90s and stuff. I think that I really dig. And I think there is a bit of that seeps into the work I make.
Hmm.
It probably defines me more as a person than I would like to admit. It's a little embarrassing, but I do really like it. So yeah.
What do you think it is you like about punk music?
I truly it's passion is a big part of it, right? It's hard to they're very honest about the way they feel about things, generally speaking, in punk music. I grew up playing guitar, so that's a big part of it too. So I like playing, guitar and riffs and stuff, but mostly it's passion, it's caring about other people.
Hmm.
And mostly that generally takes the form of like questioning authority and throwing bricks at things, which is an important part of caring about other people because sometimes other people don't care about other people, and so sometimes bricks need to get involved, and that's
Yeah.
and that's a
And
lot of what
sometimes
it's
when
about.
you care so much, you're going to be so angry in general and
Yes,
not think, "Oh, I've got it so comfortable. I'm gonna write I Love Your Smile by Shanice." I don't know if you know that song.
I did not off the top of my head. I've heard it before, but it's been a minute.
It's got a real like the I could picture a American Psycho sequel where they play that before
Okay,
they
okay.
like hatchet people. Like it's
Sure.
so sugary that it's probably gonna give you diabetes. Like it'll kill you. Whereas punk is the punk I like anyway tends to be like we aren't comfortable people. Like we're not making this music because we've got it easy. So we're gonna express that discomfort. But a lot of the reason we're feeling uncomfortable is because we care and we're invested.
Yes.
But not invested in kind of the narcissistic, I want to show off how good I am at piano or something. I was thinking about Yngwie Malmsteen. Are you familiar with Yngwie Malmsteen?
Oh.
He's a guitarist who
Okay.
plays every note he can. Like if you give him like
Yeah.
5 seconds, he will play 500 notes somehow.
Okay. Attentive.
And you can't keep up. So you can't get in the flow state with him unless you are just so fast in your brain that that's
Sure.
and it doesn't seem like he cares about connecting with you so much as he cares about showing off. And I think of you as the opposite of Yngwie Malmsteen in some ways. So I mean that is and you're a fine guitarist. I don't mean to disparage him, but you can't connect with him, whereas your stuff is so quick to connect with. And I feel like your more recent games, it's a bullet hell. Did you make a bullet hell?
So I've made a couple bullet hells. Yes, I'm working on a bullet hell now.
Okay, I wasn't sure
And
if it
I've
was out
also
yet.
made one in the last couple of years. Just I made one for Indie Apocalypse. I don't know if you know, like Andrew Pizza Pranks. Indie
This sounds
Apocalypse.
familiar. Tell us all about it though, in case the
Yeah.
listeners don't know.
So Indie Apocalypse is like an ongoing, what would you call it? Like a video game anthology zine,
Mm.
basically. Every month, I think they put together a collection of like 10 games, including like 9 games that have already been released by different independent creators, and then one new one that gets commissioned for every zine.
And it's
And
like a profit deal, like they can pay you?
yeah, they split the profits among everyone in the zine. There's a cover artist. They draw like a magazine cover for each zine, but it's done by like a comic book artist or something like that. And they're gorgeous. They're really cool. But it's just like it's a totally eclectic like collection of like weird small games. Usually they're usually small. A lot of them are pretty experimental. Sometimes they're very story heavy. Sometimes it's just like a little action game or a little, like maybe even like a flash style game. But I ended up, I think I was on a podcast with him actually, with this guy who runs it named Andrew. And we were talking about Toho, which is a long running bullet hell series. And we were talking about it for a long time. And I was like, did you ever put a Toho game in this anthology? He's made like, he's been doing this for like 6 or 7, there's like 60 or 70 collections of 10 games that he's got out.
Wow, cool.
So long story short, I made a Toho game for his anthology, and it's a really weird bullet hell that goes in a circle. It's kind of cool. I don't know. I like it.
Well, it was as close as
Yeah.
I thought of guitar solos when I checked it out, and I often do with Bullet Hell because it feels like a lot of notes coming at you if you compute
Sure.
inputs or stimuli from a game with a musical note. But in the end, the path usually is relatively clear as to where you have to move your character in order to survive. So it's still very like clean and simple the way you do it.
Right.
Whereas a lot of the like, oh geez, I'm blanking on the name suddenly. I want to say Gaiden. There's so many Gaidens. Raiden, not Gaiden.
Okay.
Then there's the one where you flip from a black ship to a white ship that everybody loves, Ikaruga.
Yeah, that's the big
Yeah.
one.
Where it's just like I feel like a bad person. I can't keep up with all the stuff you wanted me to do and when you wanted me to flip ships and then move over here and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So it didn't give me that sense of tension. It gave me more of a we're gonna like listen to a fast song together, but it's still simple punk. Was that what you wanted?
I mean, I enjoy bullet hells. I'm not great at them.
Mm.
I made a joke about this because I think I've been able to beat like the secret bosses of Undertale and Deltarune, right? So like the harder versions of the bosses in those games are pretty hard, but like compared to a lot of bullet hells, not so hard, right?
Mm. Hmm.
Um, I was able to beat Zero Ranger, which is a really good but pretty approachable shmup, I guess I would say. Shmup. And then I've beaten a couple of easier Toho games. So like that's my level. I can't do Ikaruga. I'm actually really not very good at a lot of those kinds of games, but I like making them. They are very like simple and easy to get into. It's very easy to sit down
Mm.
and be like, I'm gonna dodge around these bullets and I'm gonna shoot my little ship around, and like it's very straightforward. And there's something nice about it. There's something nice about weaving between the patterns and things like that. So
I think we all wish we could just dodge the problems. And I think we often all feel like there's so many problems. So filling the screen with problems and then somehow surviving it is a nice fantasy that hopefully we can.
yeah. They're very fun to look at. They're very fun
Mm,
giant waves of bullets that you're just kind of like sneaking your way through. So yeah.
yeah. And then more also you made a game that's more story based because the Toho had some characters, of course, but it was less about getting to know everybody deeply. What was the more story based game you made?
Yeah, so I put out a small game for an anthology my friends made. It was like we have a big like game dev group in Michigan, and we all got together and made an anthology of like basically everything in the thing was about space. So
Hmm.
I made a game called, let me see if I can remember the full title of my own game. Don't sing me the blues, please sing me a bright red song of love. Um, and if you can believe it, it's about two women who are no. So these two women get lost. It's an RPG where these two women get lost in like a strange labyrinth on Mars, and they have 15 minutes to explore it and find items and get stronger through like RPG battles. And then after 15 minutes, no matter what happens, you immediately go into a boss battle. And you
Whoa.
fight essentially the spirit of the planet Mars, who is like a jilted cosmic lesbian. Um, and that's basically the whole game. So there's a lot of story and character in it because it's about these two women like essentially trying to keep each other sane while they are
Mm.
like trapped in this loop on Mars, and trying not to get killed, basically.
Yeah. And multiple endings?
There are a couple different endings. It's a very, I would say it's a very small, very compact game. So it's not like brilliantly like 15 different endings, but there are a few. There's some, I had some secrets in there. I have a lot of fun hiding little secrets and like sneaking things in there. So
That's awesome. Where did you get the idea that Mars might be a jilted cosmic lesbian?
I don't remember where. I feel like I've seen, I'm sure I got inspired by something, but basically like I was already writing this kind I already really liked the idea of this character's getting trapped on Mars and being killed by like the planet of Mars is like tangible and personified and angry.
Hmm.
And I was like, well, why is Mars angry? And I was like, well, Earth these Earthlings have come there, just kind of shown up on her planet. And then it kind of became this story where there's like this tension between the planet Mars and the planet Earth, and then the other, oh, big thunder.
Oh, fun. Planet Earth.
Um,
Boom. Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
Perfect
Uh,
timing.
yeah, I don't know. It just was a fun way to build up the idea of Mars as like a character and Earth as a character, and then I built all these other planets in there and gave them personalities. Because I have one thing that I like to write about apparently, which is just like what
But
if
it
I
will.
like a really torrid relationship?
Well, that's what I was going to say. It is moving past just the honeymoon period. We're falling in love, we're getting through the bumps, and then moving more towards like when you've been together for a while, there's times you're going to feel jilted. There's times you're going to feel afraid that you're losing something that you've already gained. And Mars, I don't want to spoil it too much, but Mars is coming from a place of emotional anger and loss and like resentment, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is not too much of a story spoiler, I suppose. She's taking it out on the two women, these two humans that have stumbled into her planet. So that's
Because of
essentially,
where they're from.
basically, yeah. Or
Yeah.
basically, just, yeah, it's kind of, yeah, it's all interweaved, basically. I'm trying to, like, it was still mostly, not quite a jam game, but I wrote a lot of the story in, like, over the course of a weekend.
Oh,
So
wow.
kind of happy
Cool.
with how it came out, despite that.
But
Uh,
and how did you feel when you were writing it?
I had a pretty clear idea of like the kind of story I was telling when I went in. So it really just came down to me, right? I think like mostly I've almost only ever written like dialogue as opposed to like, I make the like boss game is an action kind of game. And uh this game is, well, I'm blanking on the names of my own games.
They're
Bright Red
long.
Love
Mhm.
I made it really long. It's my own fault. Bright Red Song of Love is like an RPG, but
Hmm.
I mostly only write like dialogue as opposed to any like descriptive text.
Hmm.
So a lot of it was just like writing, having a lot of fun coming up with like the way these characters be interacting with each other, right? Like the way telling the story about Mars and like this past relationship between all the planets in the solar system, and then these two women who are like waking up every day over and over again and knowing that they're still trapped in this horrible dungeon on Mars. And just like kind of creating the situations that would come from that, right? Mostly it's like these two women, Cyan and Cerulean,
Hmm.
are basically trying their best to kind of like keep each other going. It's a little bit of like, it's almost a little bit like a horror story almost, because it
Yeah,
takes
yeah, yeah.
a horrible
No,
event.
it's got a Groundhog Day slash, like there's a new horror movie out called It Ends,
Okay.
where it's for people who just like graduated from college driving in a car and they can't ever stop. They'll get carjacked if they do, but they also no longer need to eat or sleep and they run out of gas. So it's just, well, my life is driving now. And what do you do with the person alongside you when it's like, this is my life now? And your game has a similar, like, well, this is all we ever get to do. We now know the limits of things, which also happens sometimes when you get married. You kind of settle into a routine and you're like, this is we're probably not going to move to France anytime soon, and we're probably not going to have any kids, and we're probably not going to hopefully have like a horrendous fire or. So right now we're in a groove. Now what? Like we've established what we have and who we are. How do we
Right.
live now? It's a really interesting question to ask and express in a game. I don't know if it was intentional, but it's sounding like you were playing with all those sorts of things and also kind of how people are just kind of there's reason to not like us. Like there's reason for Mars to be like you people. Why? Why
Yeah,
did you
yeah, yeah.
do this? I don't want you here. People are just such a problem these days. As a group, I think
Sure.
individually people are so great, but as a group, they could get real,
That's some problems, yeah.
yeah, real problems. And you didn't mean to do this, I guess, but the whole premise of your game reminded me of one of my favorite games growing up. I'll just tell you briefly, Zach McCracken and the Alien Mindbenders,
Okay.
which
I've
was
heard of it.
the
I've never played it.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
most people haven't, and a lot of people think it stinks, but it is the second game that used the engine that Maniac Mansion used, that later Monkey Island used. So that point and click engine called the Scum engine. It was the second one that used that, and eventually two girls go to
Mhm.
Mars and hang out. And I think they're in a
Cool.
rock group and they don't have any boyfriends or talk about anything, which was rare for a video game in the 80s to be like, there's a girl who maybe she doesn't even like boys. Like she is not there for boys at all. And they solve problems and sometimes run out of oxygen and die. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's an interesting parallel. I feel like your game is like, what if they took, like, I wouldn't have been surprised if you said I played that and wished it was like a full game that had deep characterization and also battles and stuff. But it's not, it's just total coincidence. What the heck?
No, I mean, oh, it is. I think it's still rare today to see like a game that's just like not. It's less rare than it used to be, but like a story that's just oh, here's like women doing stuff, and like there's not that many guys involved at all, or
I
like
know.
we didn't, squeeze in a love triangle in there somewhere, or something like that, or I guess I don't know. I do feel like we're in a little bit of a renaissance for that, though, in terms of just like letting women hang out with each other and do stuff and fall in love or whatever.
I
But
hope so. I think that as I've seen you, it looks from the outside like you have gotten more popular. And I love that. And not everyone has. A lot of people have gotten less popular. A lot of people have got laid off, or a lot of people spent 5 years working on a game and then it bombed and they're panicking. But you have continually seem to have gained fans who genuinely connect with what you're doing. Is that true, or am I just dreaming that? That's how it's looked over the past few years.
I don't think I can be a good judge of my own popularity. I can say that I mean, one, I do have people who genuinely seem to really, really appreciate the work I make and like it just because mostly because they like lesbians or because they like storytelling or action games or whatever, which is I
There's
mean
a
all
lot of
fine.
lesbians and stories and action out there. I feel like your way of doing it, though, is so authentic that people feel a real connection to you. Like it does not feel like you are trying to make money. And also, I think you are making money. Like your games are selling, I think, right?
Yeah, I won't pretend that I don't like having a little money. I'm not making $1 million off of my little lesbian action game, but I can say that like one, I was surprised to see how many people really did seem to like enjoy and love Boss Game, and probably the best things I got out of Boss Game were like I got a few extremely personal like emails from people and like messages from people telling me like that the game really meant a lot to them and like parts of the game really click with them. There was a couple folks, there's one person in particular who did like a lot of speed runs of the game, which is something I never would have expected. And I was like,
Mm,
oh, people like are enjoying this game enough to like play it multiple times over and over again. I was like, that's more than I could have hoped for, I guess I would
mm.
say. Obviously, like I like being popular in the sense that, like, if I'm gonna make games, I would love for people to play them and check them out, and like I'd love to make at least enough money to kind of keep making games. I'm not quite there yet, but I there's no point in me making games for the sake of making money if it means I'm not making games. Like I might as well go. Well, I guess I wouldn't go work for a company now because they all are kind of on fire. But like, I, if I was gonna make money, I would just go work a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
you just
and I do have to work a job. But like,
right. But you would, if you wanted games to just be a profit deal, they no longer would be play. The process of making them is playful for you,
yeah,
and the process of playing them for people because of that you
Yeah.
don't feel like you got something that was made by AI. You feel like it was made by someone who just was in love with making things. That's how how they feel. So I'm so glad that that has caused you to get more popular and get more money, and eventually you will
Well,
be 100,000 air off your games, if not
yeah, for
millionaire.
sure.
I'm sure.
No, no. I think the one thing I can say about the whole AI generation stuff or whatever is that like I do think the advantage, in terms of very capitalist terms here, the advantage that an independent developer or a small group of friends or whoever has over a AAA studio or any other big company is that like you are more capable of channeling yourself into your work or your identity or your personal, you know, it's like, anyone who inserts you can get kind of weird with things. You can be kind of
Mm,
freaky and weird and you can put your own personal stuff. Like obviously, I love writing stories about women doing stuff. I like making my specific little action games or whatever. And like I can just do that because I'm the only one making it. No one can tell me I can't do it. And like if I was to say, okay, but I want to try and like make a mass appeal type game, and I'll use AI generation to do it, and I'll just be like, oh, I'll just make like really pretty, bloom filtered anime girls. And they won't be pixels anymore, and what all this sort of stuff. Like I could do that, but it would lose the part of the game that is like one personally interesting to me, and if I had to guess, probably the only thing that people care about with my stuff, like, you know, because I'm
yeah,
not.
I think that as I think it's in like the new James Pond game. It's just like
Oh,
everywhere with people who don't care about making the game, they just are hoping to make money off it. It feels like Walmarts are popping up everywhere, and your shop called Lesbian Sweethearts Let Eat Candy and Kiss is like people are running towards it because they're so sick of all the Walmarts everywhere. So I'm hoping it actually helps you stand out more because
yeah,
AAA games were like a little personal, but also like
yeah,
a little bit mainstream chasing.
yeah.
And now they're getting even more just sloppy. And you're the opposite of slop. And I'm so happy for that. We only have 2 minutes left.
Oh
Is there
shoot,
anything we should tell everyone to go buy your games somewhere? Where can they? You got your own .com, I think.
I do have a .com. I have an RSS feed, even if people don't know about them. No,
So cool.
but yeah, I don't know. I'm mostly like as far as social media and stuff, I'm on Blue Sky now. I at It's me, Lily V. I make games about women who are doing their best. Um, I don't know. Boss Game is still on Steam. Boss Game's the one cool big game that I would say if you want to check out my work. That's the big one. I like it. I'm very proud of it. It's awkward looking back at it now and being like, I could do so much better than this. But that's kind of how everything works, right? Like
Yeah,
I've
when
never
you
met
get better. That's the curse of getting better is things you used to do aren't as good.
I've never met like a creator or an artist who didn't go like, "What was I doing?" Like a year after their stuff comes out or whatever. My work is
Yngwie Malmsteen, he never did. He was always just like, I'm the best then, I'm the best now. Don't be like that Malmsteen.
you gotta play. If you can play 500 notes in a second, then like, who's gonna you're like you can have this one. You know what I mean?
It's
You go
very
for
kind
it.
to Yngwie.
Yeah,
He's
no.
thanking you from the grave. I don't think he's with us anymore, so
Oh
you know.
shoot.
Yeah,
Uh, but
that's okay.
yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna keep making games. I think this next project I'm working on will be a little bit, hopefully, and be like a touch bigger, a little more fleshed out. I might put it on Steam and stuff like that. So we'll see. And that'll be some kind of weird lesbian shmup. I'm 99% sure is what I'm still very early on, but I'm feeling pretty good about it. So I'm happy about that.
That's
But
so awesome. And what's your .com?
my .com is it's me lilyv.com. It's very
Perfect.
very straightforward and simple. I occasionally I write blogs about stuff. I put all my art up on there, which is again a lot of women doing cool stuff or being cool.
I think we only
Uh,
have like 10 seconds. I hate to cut
oh,
you off.
no,
Lily V, you're the
yeah.
queen of them all. Thank you so much
Oh
for
my
being
God.
on.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been wonderful.